Your shit.
Man over madness, grand over habit. We never had it. Check off the box on the bag list. Now we established from the block to the palace. Usage and salvage. Now we about it. Traveling thousand. Rich or poor, we breaking the balance. When it changed, still at the balance. Didn't get a thing, so I still with my talent. Up in the clouds, collecting the mileage. Soon we hit land, we up at the challenge. Dodging anything that's bringing us malice. Got hit in the cup, can't sip from that chalice. Trying to see life from a different view. Checking all sides, my peripheral. We up now, that's the pinnacle. The inner you. Eyes stuck on the inner tube. Perception got them in B2. They all gas like an inner tube. Took a small break, just the interlude. Now we in the groove. Took a couple losses, we was 10-2. Before the turn, it was 10-2. Got it hand over hand like we 10-2. Cause when you down and out, they don't pin you. Still we made it. From the land where they take that, they don't play fair. Lost a lot of niggas, fell off with niggas, I don't really care. Hell with them now, whether tried to fail with them now. So we out here until we out of here, looking up now, past the stratosphere. Yo, we gonna cut it down. We ain't gonna even do the whole intro. We got a lot of work this morning. Microsoft pulling up, telling Sony to put up or shut up. You feel me? If you're gonna make this stringent effort to block our deal, then you're going to have to put up or shut up. You just can't sit in the rafters and say, and cry to these regulators saying, this why this shouldn't happen, and then don't get called out on your own BS. So we're going to talk about it this morning. On a pop-up, I'm going to call this a pop-up podcast. You feel me? A pop-up podcast, all right? We're going to go through the third-party summary, since they saying it's like more than Sony crying about. Really, it's Sony crying about the deal. The other parties really don't have an issue with it. We know Google have an issue in the cloud space and things like that. We know NVIDIA say they're not against the deal, but they have particular issues in terms of Activision games being accessible on their cloud service. And, you know, that's not a problem. You feel me? Really, it's Sony leading the charge. And it seems like it's a lot of lying going on. I ain't pointing no fingers or no elbows, you know what I'm saying? But it seems like it's some misinformation in people being disingenuous about the information that they're putting out. So as y'all come in, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so every time I go live or do a pop-up live or anything like this, you guys can be notified. I just want to go through this information real quick because this is crazy. And I see why Microsoft and Activision recently have kind of displayed their frustration because of a lot of the misinformation and lies that's being told to some of these regulators, and they feeding into it hook, line, and sinker. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna give my opinion on that because a lot of these, I don't think some regulators, I don't want to say all, but some of them don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the research and all that. Some of them might not have the resources to do it. So the best way to do that is to oppose the deal and force the company that you are opposing to bring the information to you. And I think the CMA is doing a lot of that in this case. And they signed too much with Sony for my liking. Somebody might get, well, I ain't going to put that out there. I don't want it. Look, let me say this. Hit the like button. We finna get into this. First, I'm gonna start off with the summary of the third party calls. So let me bring that up on screen because reading this, you can kind of, even though they don't name names, but reading this, you know who is saying what, right? You can differentiate. You might not know in terms of the other, you know where Sony at in this summary. All right. So let me shout you guys out. We got FPS Plays Grandpapa. We got Jordan Berry. We got MC. And look, you know what? I see a lot of new names in the chat. I've been seeing a lot of new names in the chat, and I just want to say thank you all, and I appreciate you all for joining the channel and for being a part of this platform, because it just lets us know that we're branching out to new listeners and new people that come in and join on the platform beyond the people that normally show up. So I just want to say I really do appreciate y'all. And it's like 10:45 in the morning Central Standard Time. You know what I'm saying? I'm hitting y'all early. Some of y'all might be at work, so I can help y'all breeze through your day real quick. Right? Shout out to Jordan Berry, MCMC, Abdel 114, my brother, King's Blood Gaming. What's good, brother? The Dark Lord Fusion, what's up? HB was good. You won't give me this time, player. HB was good. Iron Mike, what's up? Trey Mack was good, brother. Laughing is the cure. Yes, it is. Shout out to Jordan Berry with the $5. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. And whoever else is in here that didn't come in the chat, shout out to you all. Let's get into this. Let me bring this up on screen, right? Because Microsoft, and I love this. This would, I think, in terms of when we get to the motion, because Microsoft just put out a motion that says that Sony motion couldn't be should be denied. And I got a lot of flack on that on internet. People was telling me that I didn't know what I was talking about, and I was telling them that the motion that certain outlets was reporting that the judge agreed to Sony's motion to not provide that information, that the judge agreed to that motion. I'm like, no, he didn't. That was a proposal written by Sony lawyers that wasn't even signed by the judge. And then somebody told me in the background, well, you know, the judge could already sign it. It don't become public until afterwards. I say, no, that's a proposal written by Sony. A judge can't write a motion. A judge can't write a motion. That has to come from but Abbott, they told me I didn't know what I'm talking about, and then turn around, all the outlets that wrote a story on that turned around and deleted their story. And deleted their story. And what? And your King Thrashes, who called me an armchair lawyer, who said I was wrong, and your J Dubs, your Kratos, who called me an armchair lawyer, said I was wrong, it went quiet. Ain't heard from them since. You feel me? But what's good? What's good? Daruham, what's up? South Star, what's up? Black Lightning 100, what's up? Country Working Man, what's good? Okay, so we're going to get into this. We're going to get into the summary of the third-party calls, okay? Let me see if I can do this here. Right? We're going to get that up close. Oh, that's too much. That's too much. Oh yeah, I could drag that over like that. So y'all can really see. Okay, so we're going to start, from here. Microsoft Activision Blizzard Phase 2 merger inquiry, summary of third-party calls. Now, the introduction, the Competition and Market Authority, the CMA, is investigating the anticipating acquisition by Microsoft Corporation of Activision Blizzard Incorporation under the merger control provisions of the Enterprise Act of 2002. I don't know what that is. That's something I got to look into. Hopefully, Ho's Law, who's been doing better and feeling better, take his time. But at some point when he do come back, he can kind of give us the thorough breakdown of explaining all of this. But we do wish him good health. Number two is in relation to the merger. As part of his Phase 2 investigation, the CMA held calls or meetings with 6, right? First, it was 3. I think Sony been on the phone calling some people saying, look, it's going to affect you too, brother. I just can't be out here by myself all alone looking crazy, right? And so Google, who wasn't initially there when Brazil first did their report, it seemed like Sony was the only one.
We didn't hear about Brazil. We didn't hear about Nvidia, Nintendo. We didn't hear about none. We just heard about Sony and them complaining. And I guess at some point through all of this, somebody got on the call. look, we can't be the only one out here by ourselves. You feel me? Okay, in relationship to the merger, as part of its phase 2 investigation, the CMA held calls or meetings with six third parties during the period from October 2022 to January 2023. Each of these third parties is a competitor or a potential competitor with the merged entity in either console gaming services or cloud gaming services, all right? The primary purpose of the CMA's discussion with these third parties was to understand the following. Depending on the identity of each third party, some of these topics were more relevant than others. Okay, so the three topics are the third party's relationship with Activision and any other game developers and publishers, and if relevant with Microsoft and their views on game publishing more generally. B, the third party's views on competition in console gaming services, including both buy-to-play games and multi-game subscription services, okay, and cloud gaming services. The third party's views on the likely evolution of cloud gaming. And see, I don't get the CMA stance on this. To me, cloud is not a market yet. Cloud gaming is not a market. It's just a substitute input of how you access and play your games. That's all it is right now. xCloud is still in beta. It's not even an official cloud service. But we're gonna get into that because they say some things in here that I want to elaborate on. Whether the third party had tried or considered using an operating system other than Windows for providing cloud gaming services, and whether they consider this to be a viable approach to providing cloud game services. And here it is right here. Cloud gaming is not secluded to one operating system. You can access xCloud beta on Windows, Mac, Google Chrome, the Google operating system, Chrome OS, Android, iOS, all right, Steam, right? They're the Steam OS, right? And with Proton, you can run Windows apps in a Steam environment. For the life of me, I don't know why they're trying to lock cloud gaming to an operating system. Right? When the cloud infrastructure ain't nothing but Series X's in the cloud, Series X and S's in the cloud. Right? So they're running a stripped down version of Windows, but in order to cloud game, you don't need a specific operating system. You just don't. And so this for the life of me, I don't understand that, but we'll get into it further. The CMA does not always publish a summary of third-party oral evidence gathered during its investigation, right here, but may in some circumstances, for example, where a merger which has attracted significant public interest, which this one has, for example, the public call with the with the administrative law judge, man, bro, y'all two them phone lines up. But that just shows you the excitement around this case, whether you for it or against it, okay? Whether you for or against it, there's big interest around this case. Consider that it is appropriate to publish a summary of third-party oral evidence on the CMA's website. Okay, so let's get into this, okay? Then let me see here. The third parties were also asked for their views about the merger. This document provides an overview of comments made by third parties relating to the key themes of the CMA's inquiry into the merger in general. Okay, views of market participants are an important source of evidence. this right here, the views of market participants are an important source of evidence in CMA merger investigations. But as noted in the provisional findings, the weight that should be given to such views is considered carefully. In particular, we recognize that the outcome of a merger investigation can have a direct financial or strategic impact on market participants. And we therefore consider the interests and incentives of market participants, as well as the extent to which such claims are consistent with other evidence when assessing what weight to attach to those views. Hold on, give me just a second here. My mother is calling me. Hello? All right. Sorry about that. That was my mother calling because one of my cousins told her somebody just hacked her phone. Look, Lord, let me tell you something. The things I go through. And I said, well, your phone is hacked. How? I don't know. He just told me my phone is hacked. Lord have mercy. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so the competitive landscape and console gaming services. Some third parties refer to Microsoft, Xbox, Sony PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch as competitor platforms, meaning that they included finally one of the third parties is including Nintendo in this market, which the FTC and the CMA has been excluding Nintendo from this market based on the hardware profile of the Nintendo Switch. And since its specs doesn't align with the PlayStation and Xbox specs, then they kind of created and pretty much narrowed the market to fit their to fit their agenda, basically. So they're saying that Xbox and PlayStation is a high profile hardware in terms of its specs, and Nintendo, based on its specs in the games that it creates, we don't include them as competitors or in the same market as Sony and Xbox, which is weird because Nintendo was here before both of them. And I know we like to seclude Nintendo to just family-oriented game and children games, but a lot of Nintendo's fan bases range between 18 to 35 or even older. And Nintendo does have mature content on its system, but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. All right. Two third parties identify the availability of attractive first and third party content as key to a platform's success. Yes. Amongst gamers, we always say that exclusives are the identity of these consoles, right? With one also emphasizing overall consumer experience. Yep. One third party contended that the quality of content library has been demonstrated to drive users satisfaction with gaming consoles, while two commented that the loss of a major title would be harmful to a platform and its users. I do agree with this. I don't agree with the loss of one major title would be harmful to its platform, right? Because at one point, Madden wasn't on the Xbox, OG Xbox. At one point, GTA wasn't on Xbox, right? At one point, GTA was still exclusive to PlayStation. The Final Fantasies were still exclusive to PlayStation, right? Microsoft was creating its own football games at one point, right? And though the OG Xbox didn't sell, hit the 25 million wall, that's because a lot of things, mainly because of the contract they had with Nvidia on the chips, right? Nvidia was pretty much getting over, right? And so and even in the 360 era, when this 360 initially dropped, it didn't have a GTA, but GTA was on. I think later in that that console cycle, they announced, I think that was GTA 4. I think GTA 4 for the 360. And then we got the remasters of the other GTAs that was exclusive to PlayStation at that time. Xbox was still booming without those key titles. Right? So one third party characterized Call of Duty as unique. And now here go, this is Sony. This is Sony right here. Without a doubt. This is Sony. One third party characterized Call of Duty as unique, right? They have to characterize it as unique because they have to convince, excuse me, they have to convince the regulators that Call of Duty is an essential input, right? They have to convince regulators that Call of Duty is an essential input. I think it's not, right? But it's not what I believe. It's what Sony is able to convince the regulators. And so far, they've been doing a hell of a job with the CMA and the FTC, specifically the CMA, though, because a lot of what the CMA came back in their response, even in phase 1 and phase 2, had a lot of verbiage from Sony. All right. So one third party characterized Call of Duty as unique and a driver of console purchase decisions, giving its wait. I'm talking. Hold on, let me get this off here. One third party characterized Call of Duty as unique and a driver of console purchase decisions, giving its fast development cycle and large, highly engaged audience. It noted that Call of Duty's annual releases are very expensive to develop, and that these development costs will be even higher for a competitor without the necessary existing infrastructure. It identified Call of Duty players as highly informed and sensitive to lower quality offerings, less accessible add-ons, delayed release dates, and restrictions to cross-play on a particular platform. So basically, you know what Sony is like. Wow. This is crazy. This is crazy. Are y'all hold on, let me take this down so I can move this out the way a little bit. Let me take this down. I'm gonna do that. There we go. Because y'all still can see it. All right, and let me move this over. That'll do it too. That'll help too. All right. Are y'all reading this? Are y'all reading what Sony just told them? Huh? They're pretty much saying if Call of Duty goes exclusive to Xbox, right? That Xbox is going to lower the quality of the game, make it less accessible in terms of add-ons, have delayed releases and dates, and restrict crossplay. Hold on. Let me do something. Let me do something here. We're going to do this here, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring that back. Sony initially blocked cross-platform play for both Rocket League and Minecraft, despite Nintendo and Microsoft both enabling players to play across Xbox and Switch. The issue really blew up when Sony blocked Fortnite cross-play in 2018 and players were angry, right? It announced previously that Sony may have holding out to offset potential revenue loss, right? Wasn't Sony's excuse of not supporting crossplay was because they wanted to protect their players? Huh? The lies you tell. The lies you tell, right? All right, let's go back. Hold on. Let me see here. Give me just a second. Right? What also they say, right? Hold on, let me see here. All right. Let me go back here. Let me see what else they say. Okay, let me get back to this, right? Less accessible to add-ons. Doesn't Sony have, with their marketing agreement with Activision, don't they get exclusive access to Call of Duty betas? Don't they get 1 year exclusivity on Call of Duty game modes and certain add-ons and things like that? Is Sony crying to the please, regulators? They gonna do to us what we've been doing to them for the last 10 years. You can't let them do it, right? That's basically what they said. This is crazy. And for some of these regulators, I won't say all, because all of them didn't go for it. We already got 4 regulators that approved the deal already, right? This is they're basically saying, regulators, CMA, don't allow them to do to us what we've been doing to them for the last 10 years. Less accessible add-ons, restriction to cross-play. I won't even get into lowering the quality of the game. That is just asinine. I don't even know why the regulators would entertain that, because what company would spend $70 billion, right, on a game that makes billions every year only to get that game and lower the quality of that game on the system where most of the fan base of that game is on? It doesn't make, it's ridiculous. Thank you, Deuces. This is foolery. In the fact that the CMA is actually entertaining this and believes this is beyond me. That's why I say a lot of people got on me when the phase 2 provisional findings came out, and I said that they're still trying to because they changed some of their stands on Game Pass and stuff like that, even some of the cloud stuff. But they are still pushing this Sony rhetoric and verbiage. And it's been like that since phase 1. And you have had over a year to do your due diligence. And I just don't see it. And then you say y'all went through 3 million pieces of paper. 3 million pieces of paper. We need how many people you had on this case? Who went through 3 million people? I know y'all didn't. Rashad say, if COD plays best on Xbox, COD ain't go. Look, a few people might come, but the data didn't already. A few people might come over. but not all of them, because some people, a lot of these gamers have cemented themselves in PlayStation ecosystem, right? Then there's other avenues to access. Well, I ain't got to go to Xbox. I got a PC. Game Pass is on PC. If it's not on PlayStation no more, I can just play it on PC. Especially if I'm a hardcore pony and I don't want to support Xbox. Well, you're going to support it either way, whether you play it on PC or Xbox or not. You can't use cloud, right? You can't use cloud as an argument either, right? Number one, we don't know what cloud is going to be in the next 10 to 15 years. You know why? Because we don't even know what the infrastructure, the broadband infrastructure of the United States is going to be in the next 5 or 10 years. We don't know if they're going to get a hold on latency and all that. It's third world countries that have better internet services than the ones we have in the United States, and we're supposed to be one of the richest companies in the world. So how are you saying that cloud gaming, and not only that, COD is a Twitch shooter. It's a very fast pace. Who playing COD multiplayer on cloud? Who gonna play Call of Duty on cloud? Please respond. I don't think they gonna even put the multiplayer on cloud. We don't have the broadband on the infrastructure to support it right now. And if you do, it's very expensive. And there's very few areas, especially in the Midwest where I'm at. And even in Chicago, you have to be in a certain area for your internet service provider to provide fiber to the home. And even that is expensive. Ain't nobody playing Call of Duty on cloud. Right? But see, I'm gonna break this down. When last generation, right? When 360 players found out that Sony was taking over the marketing for Call of Duty, right? Nobody had an issue with 360 players migrating from the 360 to the PlayStation 4. Nobody had a problem. Nobody said nothing. Nobody cared about how that impacted the Xbox One, even though other things played into the Xbox One doing bad that generation, right? But that still didn't deter a lot of Call of Duty Xbox player migrating to the PS4 specifically for Call of Duty. And the price point. Nobody said nothing. But all of a sudden, we're concerned that if Microsoft get Call of Duty, and despite them saying numerous of times publicly that, hey, we won't take Call of Duty off PlayStation, now everybody's concerned for the well-being of PlayStation, the market leader who has spent its entire existence walling off content from Nintendo, from Sega, from Microsoft. We're talking about an industry that was built on that, pretty much. Nintendo had its exclusive. Sega had its exclusives. Sony had its exclusive. All three of them competed for third-party content and exclusives to drive people to their system. That's what the industry is built on. And now since Microsoft is trying to go and get Activision, Sony and the regulators talking about, now. What we've been doing for the last 30 years don't work. No, don't let it go through. Don't let it go through. Even though I've been doing that for the last 30 years. Even though the industry, has been doing that for the last 30 years. And despite that, it has grown to be the biggest entertainment industry in the world, despite the way it competes, walling off content from each other and making sure that your ecosystem and the fans in your ecosystem has the best content that you can provide it. And yet, despite that, it didn't hinder the industry. It didn't stop the industry. It continues to expand. That's why it's one of the most dynamic and fragmented industries in the world. You cannot monopolize it. You can't. And if Microsoft tried to, they'd probably take their ass out of. They can't. They don't. What CEO will be that stupid to even try? Because MS is trying to buy instead of sway. I swear sometimes, y'all, I don't know what, look. Google would have been more successful trying to buy a publisher or studios that were already established and prominent versus trying to build and create their first-party studios from the ground up. What's up, Pastor? Google would have been more successful, right? Because first of all, you're late to the party, right? Nintendo, Sony is already established. They're pretty much embedded in gaming, right? They have some of the most biggest IPs in the world amongst the three of them, right? Their first party studios are already solidified, right? They're already ingrained with third party in terms of relationships and things like that. You're late to the party. You don't have time to start from the beginning. You don't have time to start from the beginning. Because you will never catch up. Because technology is moving at a faster pace and the industry is growing at a faster pace. You don't have time to play catch up. So instead of them trying to grow their first party from the ground up, they should have got to Bethesda before Microsoft. The studios that Sony now, they should have got to them studios before Sony. They should have got to Bungie before Sony. You don't have time to play catch up. So you go and purchase something that's already established, that already have industry veterans that worked across a broad range of studios and different IPs and genres. You buy them and go from there. Because you're going to spend more money starting from the ground up and you're gambling. Because you don't know whatever that team that you're building from the ground up, it's not guaranteed whatever they make is going to hit or be a hit. So now You spend millions and millions building a studio, building new engines for your streaming service. Then you're going to pour more millions into IPs that you don't know if they're going to hit or miss. And then if they miss, you gotta redo it again and invest more money. And I don't think Alphabet, the parent company of Google, was willing to do that. And they got out and said, look, it'll be better if we license our tech versus trying to compete with these big three the way we're trying to compete with them. Because if we're playing catch up right now, and we won't be able to catch up. So I look at what Rashad say. They should be trying to sway. They don't got time to sway, sir. Ain't nobody got time for that. We gonna buy what's already established. Because the market they're saying the market in the next 4 or 5 years is going to be at $500 billion, worth $500 billion. The gaming market is going to be a $500 billion market. We got every big tech company, even Walmart, all big tech, all types of companies trying to find their way into this market. We don't got time to sit up here and sway and build from the ground up no more. We have to buy what's already established. We have to buy what's already proven. In order to maintain competition, in order to compete, not only with the Sonys, but the Amazons, the Googles, and even the Apples, and whoever else that's on the outside looking in, trying to find how they're going to enter this market. Because believe me, they're watching. You have superseded music, movies, and books. And whenever you have a market like that, investors, people who like to make money, is going to find their way into that market to make money off of it. Come on now, we got to have some common sense. We got to have some common sense. Hold on. That wasn't the only thing. Google pricing wasn't the only thing. I'm just saying, right? But we know this paragraph is Sony right here, and it's a bunch of BS. To go to the regulators and say, look, they're gonna lower the quality of the game on our systems. We ain't gonna get all the add-ons and all that stuff. They might even delay the dates and restrict. You've been doing that for the last 10 years. King Reaper, what's up? Rashad, I didn't say all new studios are dead or alive, but they are a gamble. They are a gamble. That Haven studio that Sony brought, that was initially a part of Google, that is a gamble. The 12 games as a service Sony got coming out over the neck, that is a gamble. That is a gamble. Because you don't know if it's going to be a hit or miss. Where we're at in the industry at this point, ain't no time Ain't no time for it. Ain't no time for it. The cost of game development games is going up. The cost of building games is going up. A lot of outsourcing is going on heavily. Where these first party studios are handing off the bulk of the work to outsource studios in order to try to reduce the time that an IP is slated to come out. They're trying to reduce IP development from 4 or 5 years to 3. Because we're living in the age of instant gratification. Everything is at the tip of our fingers when we have these phones or anything in our hand. News, music, movies, TV shows. We have instant access to them. Like that. And so now these companies are trying to figure out how do we maintain the same quality as AAA development and get these games out in a quicker time, on a quicker cadence, so they can get to the bag even quicker. All right? But we know this, Sony. It's a lot. I just want, if you're a pony and you in the chat, I just want you to have some common sense about, we don't have to agree, right? We don't have to agree. But, and I like that, we don't have to agree, all right? We can have a difference of opinions in terms of this conversation. But please have some common sense. Please have some common sense. Google should have purchased already established. They should have went after the moment ZeniMax said they was up for purchase, they should have went after her. Activision, it was 5 or 6. Let me see, 5 or 6 other people that was trying to acquire. Google, step up to the plate. If you're that serious about gaming, step up to the plate. Outbid Microsoft. And I think that's why Microsoft was willing to spend 70 to 75 billion now, because this deal gonna be worth way more than 69 billion. I think it's gonna fall in anywhere between 70 and 75 billion. Because Microsoft literally said, if you're serious about this market, then you're going to have to be able to spend that money. You're going to have to show us you serious. Plus, if you read how this all went down, Microsoft kind of blitzkrieg Activision and kind of made it hard for other people to kind of get in there, because they put Bobby Kotick in the board on a short leash, right? Because I think at that point they were the only company that was offering cash, 100% cash. You had other people that was, cash and then stocks and things like that. But Microsoft was the only company that was offering a 100% cash. And I think they was unsure if they would get another deal like that. But we're going to keep going. Post everyone not Bill Belichick like Microsoft. I don't consider Microsoft. I just consider Microsoft being serious about gaming and about competing. Right? If you look in terms of the buy to play model, Sony kicked their ass in the buy to play model. Let's agree. Xbox is my preferred system, but Sony kicked their ass in the buy to play model. Let's be serious. Let's be honest. They kicked their ass in the buy to play model. Right? So if you're on the battlefield and the competition is dominating you on their field, that they've been there before you, way before you came along, then what you have to change the field. You have to change the way you fight, and that's when Game Pass comes along. Okay, we've gonna okay we finna change the playing field. We finna shake up the industry, right? Because we tried to compete with you or by the play model and stuff like that, but your first party IP, your third party contracts, and your brand power just, you know, it's just too much. Sony, before Microsoft came along, Sony was synonymous with gaming. And still is. It still is. So let's do this. We're going to keep going. All right. Because we got a lot more to get to. Top shotter with the $10. PlayStation is Sony's golden goose, and competition will make it detrimental. They stated to CMA that they wouldn't be able to invest in AAA games because of competition. They have to be market leaders. Yeah. And then even that. And shout out to Cluda, I think Cluda, if I'm not pronouncing it, on Twitter, who made a very good comment on Twitter when he said, there's no patent on military shooters. There is no patent on military shooters, meaning that military shooter games like Call is not exclusive to just anybody can make their own military shooter. Right? You just brought Bungie, one of the best FPS shooter creators in the industry, in the game. The creators of Halo. The builders of Xbox Live, as you can say. It's not that you can, it's that you don't want to invest the money. So we're going to keep going. One third party contended that Microsoft's recent acquisition behavior, including its acquisition of Bethesda and subsequent platform publishing policies, demonstrates a strategy aimed at foreclosing rival game platforms, which will harm consumers. How, Sway? How? Bethesda legacy IPs is still across all platforms that they initially launched on. Now, you might not be getting the new IP, and Microsoft has a right to that, to build their infrastructure and their ecosystem, to fortify it, along with his other IPs, to offer the best content for its customers. Since Bethesda has been purchased, what company out here has been near foreclosed door? Huh? Sony ain't bothered. They still outselling the Xbox. Their first party exclusives are still selling well. They're still getting exclusive content from other third party. What company has the Bethesda deal actually affected? Can any PlayStation guy in the chat tell me what company has been affected by Microsoft acquiring Bethesda? Bethesda games are still on PlayStation. They're still on Xbox. They're still on PC. They're still on Steam. What company has been affected? Please, can somebody tell me? Or potentially affected? Huh? Nintendo? So, okay, Mr. Orange, you said Nintendo? How has Nintendo been affected by Bethesda? Because as far as I'm concerned, Nintendo Switch is breaking records right now. As far as I'm concerned, Nintendo Switches gain card. What you mean gain card? I'm talking about Bethesda. And what I mean, because of this paragraph right here that says, one third party contended that Microsoft's recent acquisition behavior, including its acquisition of Bethesda and subsequent platform publishing policy, demonstrates a strategy aimed at foreclosing rival gaming platforms, which will harm consumers. Which gaming platform has been affected by the purchase of ZeniMax Bethesda since Microsoft acquired them? What gaming platform has been in a position where it was possible, well, it was in a position to be foreclosed upon? None. And the games and the legacy titles, like Microsoft said before, are still on the platforms that they initially supported. Hell, even Skyrim was on PS Plus service. I don't get it. I'm just okay. Some third parties commented that first party exclusive games are a normal feature of competition in console gaming. Thank you. Been here for the last 30, 40, 50 years. So why is the issue with it now? Right? While some distinguish between the incentives of independent publishers to work with as many platforms as possible and first-party publishers to maximize their platform's profit, right? One third party noted that none of the independent AAA franchises have sought exclusivity with a... Stop the cat! Please stop the cat. Hold on. My bad, I had to blow my nose. Now look at this. One third party noted that none of the independent AAA franchises have sought exclusivity with a particular platform. Who is this lying? Who is this lying? Donovan. Who is this lying? Are you serious? Is it Final Fantasy 16 exclusive to PlayStation? Is it a lot of what Square? Is it Forspoken exclusive to PlayStation for 2 years? As this would have the effect of reducing the overall number of users. Yes. The majority of Square Enix games, even from last generation to now, have been exclusive to PlayStation. Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7, the remake, and the next 2 iterations of them games. Because wasn't Final Fantasy remake supposed to be a 1-year exclusive? And we ain't heard nothing about it ever since. My bad. I had the mic muted the whole time. The whole time. My apologies. My apologies. But man, let me reiterate what I said here. Let me reread this because, brother, look, who is this lion? Right? And see, and this is what I was saying while I was muted. When you have regulatory bodies that haven't been involved in the gaming industry over the last 30 years, right? They haven't been watching it. They haven't even been paying attention. The Nintendos, the Segas, the Sonys, the Microsofts, whatever, been able to just pretty much do what they want in this industry without being, you know what I'm saying, pretty much monitored, right? In terms of consumers and the whole competition aspect of it, right? And I kind of put onus on Microsoft for allowing Sony to get out ahead of them in terms of shaping the narrative, right? Because you have these regulatory bodies that don't understand, have no education about this industry. And when that happens, especially if you got regulatory bodies that don't want to do the due diligence of going over that 10 or 20 year history, then they become susceptible and gullible to misinformation. And this is exactly what's going on. Because some of the tactics that Sony has employed with all the executives, the lawyers, and all the other people that they just sent out to these regulatory has been working. Has been working. And that's why on the CMA perspective, when you read their perspective on things, it pretty much sounded like you're reading Sony's perspective on it. Microsoft allows Sony to get out and shape the narrative. And made this whole deal about Call of Duty and got even the CMA thinking it's an essential input, and I don't think it is. I've always said GTA is an essential input. GTA is an IP that can foreclose a publisher or a gaming platform in this day and age. And I don't think, I would say in this day and age, right? Because previously I said the 360 survived without it for years, right? But in this day and age, with the new gamers, because back then you had the 360 and a PlayStation 3. But in this day and age, if GTA goes exclusive to one of those systems, it could cause the biggest shift in gaming. GTA has that power. Call of Duty don't. Call of Duty ain't in the top 10 most sold games. Right? Metacritic Rising ain't even in the top 10 highest scoring games. Right? And it's crazy that the same people that crying about Microsoft buying Activision was just that said, Call of Duty lost its luster. Vanguard was trash. Call of Duty ain't what it used to be. It's the way of the dodo bird. It's trash now. This is crazy. I don't know who said this. One third party noted that none of the independent AAA franchises have sought exclusivity with a particular platform. As this will have the effect of reducing their overall. Stop the cap. Okay, now let's go. Let's get because we got a lot. I've been lingering on this. Multi-game subscription services. Let me adjust this real quick. Multi-game subscription services for console games. Some third party described multi-game subscription services as increasingly popular within console gaming, while one expressed concerns regarding the financial sustainability of the model. One third party contended that Microsoft is already dominant in the multi-game subscription space and that the merger will entrench that position, harming consumers and its competitors in console gaming and multi-game. How? How? Right? When Game Pass was first announced, the perspective of gamers and the communities was that it was unsustainable, even amongst the media, right? None of these companies were worried about Game Pass or it being subscription based. We know that Sony stated that they weren't worried about Game Pass. They even came out and said the model was unsustainable. Now all of a sudden, yeah, make it make sense. Is it sustainable or not sustainable? Is it a threat or is it not a threat? Because Sony has said both. Sony have came out and said it's unsustainable. Sony has came out and said it's not a threat. Then turned around and said it's a threat and pretty much sustainable. But that make this make sense. Because the PlayStation gamers that tell me Game Pass is trash. Game Pass is unsustainable. Don't nobody care about Game Pass. Sony ain't worried about Game Pass. Ain't nobody worried about Game Pass. Well, who is crying to the regulators about Game Pass? Vine Games, what's up? You rebranded your channel and flying under your brand now. Got to respect the moves made. Continue grow, good brother. Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, we named the channel. We got merch coming, new logos, and all that stuff coming, man. We working behind the scenes, man. So make it make sense. Make it make sense. Is it either it's sustainable or it's not? Either it's a threat or it's not. Right? Sony been had time to come up with a Game Pass competitor. Way before Game Pass got to 25 million subscribers. Way before. All of the competitors in the industry had the ability to create their own service. But you know what? They waited. They had to see what type of success would Game Pass have over the long term. That's not Microsoft's fault. That's not Microsoft's fault. And you know things are critical when you got Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation Plus now. You know why they did that, right? You know why they did that, right? That was intentional. If this acquisition wasn't going on, Horizon Forbidden West would not be on PS Plus service. But Sony is done that because they're trying to negate some of Microsoft's arguments. And one of those arguments is that you have a subscription service and you don't even have your own first-party games on there. So what did Sony do? They put Horizon Forbidden West on there. Y'all gotta watch what's going on. Y'all gotta watch what's going on. And everybody out there talking about, yeah, this is Sony PS Plus is best. They only put that up there to try to kill a narrative, an argument point regarding this merger. That's the only reason that game is up there. Your Honor, as you can see here, we got Horizon Forbidden West, one of our big IPs. It sold this many copies, isn't it? We just initially launched that on our service. Said what, the Ruham? Did Microsoft have Bethesda when they said what? All right. As you type that in the thing, I'm gonna move on to cloud gaming services. The majority of third parties view cloud gaming as a nascent market, right? They suggested that it's, let me see. Okay. Okay, let me do that. Okay, let me spread this out again. All right. The majority of third parties views cloud gaming as a nascent market. Well, pretty much just a market that's coming into existence, right? They suggested that its success will be dependent upon the resolution of a number of technical problems, including latency, bandwidth, and infrastructure, which I agree. Some of these third parties express confidence that these problems will be solved. You don't know when they're going to be solved. You can be confident something's going to be solved. You don't know when. And this is where probability come in. This is where may, might, could come in. And a lot of even in the provisional findings, um, the regulators had a lot of might, could, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing really definitive, right? Some of these third parties express confidence these problems will be solved and that cloud gaming will become a meaningful market, right? And that's all it's saying right there is it's potential. They're talking about the potential of the market. That they're expressing that they have confidence in the potential of the market to evolve and that they're confident in the infrastructure regarding latency bandwidth will resolve itself over time and the market will become meaningful. When that will happen, who knows? While the other characterized cloud gaming as already technically viable in an existing market. Agree to disagree, right? One third party stated that it considers all providers of entertainment on screens as its competitor. True. In cloud gaming services, and that multi-homing or using more than one gaming services is prevalent among some groups of users. Yes. I have Game Pass. I even have PS Plus. I haven't been on there because I think I got the lower tier after my stuff converted over. I think I had like 3-4 years of PS Plus originally because I got a hookup on it. And then when it converted over to what's the name? I think I got like 2 years or something like that. I don't know. I got to go back and look, but I have multiple services. Let me see. However, it identified the lack of hardware required for cloud gaming as a value add over consoles. Thank you. Cloud gaming is not exclusive to an operating system and is not exclusive to hardware. Anything pretty much, especially specifically with xCloud, anything with a screen you can access xCloud and Game Pass on. I've seen people playing xCloud on a refrigerator. On a refrigerator. So anything with a screen and access to the internet, you can access cloud gaming on, right? I don't think cloud gaming is a market yet. I think that market is still coming into existence, and how it shapes out over the long haul, we'll just have to wait and see. But I do agree with this that our competition is all providers of entertainment on the screen, right? And that's just beyond the game industry. That's movies, that's music, that's all of that. Because at the end of the day, they're all vying for your time. They're all competing for your time. So everyone is competition because everyone is competing for your time. 24 hours in a day. You sleep 8 hours, you work 8 hours, and you got another 8 hours. So 16 of those hours already gone between sleep and work, right? You got another 8 hour. How does that 8 hour get divvied up? And which company gets a part of that 8 hours? Or even in between work and sleep? Which company get majority of your time when you're sleeping and waking up, sleeping and waking up, when you're at work and you're on break? So all of these companies are competition because they're all competing for your time. Okay, let me see here. Answer. Okay, Daruham says, answer the question. You can't say that definitively because God of War zone there. Days Gone is on there. Come on, Post. Oh, are you talking about Sony first party IPs? Is that what you're talking about? I know Elder Ace. I know Elder Ace. I know it's a lot of ponies in there. They galloping, bro. They eating hay and everything. Shout out to Itchy with the $2. What chance do you give the deal going through? I still think the deal is going through. I'm at like 70-30 right now. I still think the deal is going to go through. Right? I'm 70-30. I still think the get deal. I think the regulators are going to make it hard. As they should, because they don't understand the market. They not educated or informed on the market. But I guarantee you at this point, this will be the starting point of regulators being more aware and more cognizant of this market due to the lack of information in they had education they have on this market. It kind of blindsided them all. Yeah, Ace man, they in there galloping. Okay, Days Gone and God of War, all that came last generation. That came last generation. When Sony, hold on. Days Gone and God of War came last generation, brother Ruham. And it came when Sony started, and I think that when Jim Ryan came over and Sony started to transition themselves and put themselves on the same path as Microsoft. And you can see prior to that, PS Now only had like 700,000 users. And when they threw God of War and them titles on there, the numbers shot up like over 300,000 plus users. They went over to millions of users. Now they combine PS Now with PS Plus to kind of, glue them numbers together. I mean, but if you look at PlayStation 5 games of this generation, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Horizon Forbidden West is the first PlayStation 5 game that's on that service. Right? Is Spider-Man Miles Morales up there too as well? I don't know. I haven't been on there. Well, Demon Souls, that studio is first party Sony now. Okay. All bar one of the third parties and all of those active in cloud gaming services identify content, particularly AAA content, as an important element in a successful cloud gaming offering. Of course. The content that makes up your ecosystem is very important and will determine what gamers you gravitate towards your ecosystem. And noted that Activision controls a significant catalog of AAA content. Yes. But how many of Activision AAA games are on cloud services? Hmm? How many of Activision AAA games are on cloud service or even on Game Pass or PS Plus for that matter? Somebody answer that. In addition, the majority of third party identified a large consumer base as key to incentivizing game developers to bring content to their platform. Yes. For example, PlayStation, which had 80% of the market, excluding Nintendo last year, outsold Xbox 8 systems to 1. We've seen a perfect example of when a third party has a large consumer base and is able to incentivize developers to bring content to their platform. We've seen it. PlayStation is a perfect example of this. But this has been going on for years. This has been going on for years. Exactly, Young City, none of them. Because Activision didn't believe in cloud gaming or subscription services. And had no intentions of putting none of their games on those services. I could be mistaken. I'm not always right. That's one thing I will always say. I'm not always correct. And I will allow the chat to correct me. Just like the Ruham them did with some of PlayStation first party games. All right. Microsoft ecosystem. 2 third parties commented on Microsoft's combined portfolio of Windows OS, the Azure cloud platform, its console strength, and its multi-game subscription business, and expressed concerns about the impacts on competition of adding Activision's content and studio development capacity to this portfolio. Now, this sounds like Google. Because I don't think this sounds like Google to me, right? Because I don't think Sony is worried about Windows OS, Azure. I don't even know why they're bringing up Azure. But I would assume this either Google or NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA say they wasn't against the deal. They just had issues with pretty much saying, look, just spread the wealth. If you're open to bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo and Sony, hey, allow it on our cloud streaming service. I don't think Microsoft will have an issue with that. But I think this is Google here, right? I think this is Google. Windows OS to Azure. We already know that Xbox and the cloud platform of xCloud doesn't use Azure, right? We already know Windows is not an operating system that you need to access Game Pass or cloud. This sounds like Google from a cloud service perspective. From a cloud service perspective, this sounds like Google to me. Views on the merger. It says 2 of the third parties did not express concerns about the merger, while 3 contended that the merger will have a negative impact on competition, including by affording Microsoft the ability and incentive to foreclose potential and existing rivals in the console buy-to-play, console multi-game subscription, and cloud gaming spaces. One third party commented that it was too early to determine what the impact on the merger would be. And that is fact. You don't know what's going to happen. And I hate the fact that Sony is putting COD in this light that it's going to always be COD. You don't know what might happen to Call of Duty over the next 5 or 10 years. You don't know if another IP might come along that might outstrip that and Fortnite, right? And you can't block a deal based on probability or what you assume might happen. You have to have substantial evidence. And right now, it's not enough information out there to know what's going to happen. Whether the Activision deal might be successful with Microsoft or turn out to be not so good. And just because COD is doing what it's doing now, that don't mean it's going to be doing this over the next 5 or 10 years. Because before COD, that was Medal of Honor. Before Call of Duty, that was Medal of Honor. When the last time you seen the Medal of Honor series? That wasn't on mobile. I'm talking about a AAA Medal of Honor experience. Exactly, Donovan. Look at Halo in its heydays. Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3. Look at it now. Different audience. It doesn't have the same appeal. It doesn't even carry the same weight. And the fact that the regulators are siding with Sony as if Call of Duty will have this infinite appeal in terms of the masses of gamers, like COD going. It's not. Times change, people change, new generations are coming in. The new generations, from my understanding, since I've been on, they switch up, they change. This generation now ain't like the generation that I grew up with. And the next generation ain't going to be like this generation now. So to assume that COD is going to have that staying power for not only the foreseeable in the extended future is just crazy. You're assuming. And that's basically what the provisional findings came down to. A lot of would, maybe, might, could, nothing substantial. They literally have an issue with this deal on what might could happen or what they assume could happen. And it's crazy. Young City, why wouldn't you use Halo? Why wouldn't you use Halo? If y'all got any questions in the chat, drop them in the chat. I'm finna close this out. This was 4 pages. It was short. Thank y'all for staying with me for this long. Now we're going to move over to this motion. Now, this is the official motion, right? Responded Microsoft Court. Opposition to non-party Sony Interactive Entertainment LLC's motion to squash or limit subpoena Deuce Tecum, whatever that is. Deuce Tecum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, right? I'm not going to go through this whole thing. Shout out to IDAS and Reset Era. Let me tell y'all something. If you guys want great conversation and discussions, like real thorough discussions, real educational discussions where common sense is coming into play. And I mean, you got a little fanboy in there here and there, but I'm talking about meaningful discussion where people are like typing out paragraphs and going back and forth with each other in terms of this acquisition. This thread over at Reset Era. Where is it? Did it disappear off the page? Let me see. Here we go. This thread right here, the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition OT thread, right? It was set up and created by IDAS to kind of consolidate all of this talk into one thread. It has over 2,401,513 views and 25,865 replies. They're now at 518 pages. And when I tell you, it is some incredible discussion, not only from iDash, Pixie, and a couple of other people in the street. When I mean they're having educated, educating, educational discussions with common sense, stuff that's backed up with facts and substance and fact checking behind their comments. Man, check this thread out. Check this thread out, okay? But let's get back to it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over to here. I can't be doing it. I can't be doing. Okay, so let me bring this on screen. Let me bring this on screen, and then and shout out to iDash for summarizing this for us. And we're gonna do this here. Now I can bring this on screen. All right. All right. So as we know, Sony recently wrote a proposal, a motion to the judge, the administrative law judge at the FTC, to limit or squash Microsoft's subpoena on requesting some of the information from their executives about their gaming pipeline, just all types of stuff, right? And recently, Microsoft written a motion to go against that, to say, "Hey, we need we need access to this information because it helps support our stance and our view on this acquisition." Sony is in a position where they're saying is, "Look, we have issue with this acquisition. We wanted to block. We want it blocked. We don't want it to go through. We don't want to do none of that." But then they don't want to give up no information. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, we don't want it to go through. Okay. So we don't. So now we need to check yourself. Now we need to check how you rock it. Oh no, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about me. It's about Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to put my information out there. All I'm saying is that y'all need to block the deal. That's basically what Sony doing. That's basically what Sony doing right now. Now, look, I don't want the deal to go through. You know what I'm saying? I got issues, I got problems with. It's gonna mess up my company, this and that. It's gonna do this and that. Well, we need to see some documentation on your company. It's saying these words: hardware, gaming pipeline, hardware number, financial assets, to see how big of an impact this will have on you and your. No. Y'all don't need all that. Y'all don't need all that. This is Jim Ryan. Y'all don't need all that. You feel me? All you need is just, block the deal, stop the deal, what I'm saying? And then I can go back to doing what I've been doing. But, what I'm saying, for that hardware, none of that matter. It ain't about me. It's about Microsoft. You feel me? I'm just saying this is going to impact my company. That's pretty much what Sony doing right now. And to the point where they even called it harassment. Shout out to Donovan. Yeah, now the deal is going through. They're going to have to fight for it. But I think anything worth having is worth fighting for. You feel me? And that's old school. I know y'all heard that saying before. Anything worth having is worth fighting for. Right? So I think Microsoft and Activision is going to fight, do whatever they need to do and fight for this deal. So iDAS broke this motion down from Microsoft. So I have it all in one place. We don't have to read through all that that lawyer verbiage. He broke it down in, simpler terms for us to understand. So it says, Microsoft said that Sony motion should be denied and provides 10 pages of arguments. So shout out to iDAS for consolidating 10 pages down into this, where we can get the most important things out of it. He's been doing a great job. Pixie over there. I think Pixie is a lawyer too. There's a lot of people over there that's been doing a great job since Hogue Law has been, out on medical leave, basically. Microsoft says that Sony Motion should be denied and provides 10 pages of arguments. Microsoft says that, one, Sony has unleashed its executives and high-priced economists to petition the commission, as well as regulators around the world to block the transaction. Microsoft mentioned 4 redacted examples. So we won't get access to the information. Hopefully, after all this is over and said and done, that a lot of this information that redacted becomes public. That becomes public knowledge. Play, what's up, my brother? What's up, brother? We need your blessings, brother. Let me tell you something. God knows. God knows, and He bring one of His soldiers to my chat every show. What's good, Play, man? That's my bro right there, man. I gotta hop in the Discord and holler at you, man. It's been a minute since we both politic. Number 2, Sony's campaign has worked because the commission theory of harm relies almost exclusively on the facially implausible claim that the acquisition is anti-competitive because Microsoft will withhold from Sony a single game. Thank you. Let's go, Microsoft. Hold on. Let me turn that down a little bit. I don't want to be too loud, and y'all. Thank you, Mike. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. How are you're gonna sit Sony? You see, he say place Sony as a whole, as a corporation, LLC, whatever, is sit up here trying to manipulate these regulators into believing that one game will prevent them from coexisting in this industry. That is blasphemy. Louis Frank, what's up? That is a lie. And as you can see, it worked. Sony campaign has worked because the commission's of theory of harm relies on almost exclusively, take your Sony side, protect us, and we go again, exclusively on the facially or factually implausible claim that the acquisition is anti-competitive because Microsoft will withhold from Sony a single game, Call of Duty. Okay, we're going to keep on. Despite leading the charge to stop the transaction, Sony claims it should not be required to produce documents on the very topic it has put an issue on. You feel me? So, once again, here goes Sony. Stop the deal. Stop the deal. They messing with my money. They messing with my company. I'm going to go out of business. Well, can you show us documents in your company and financial and stuff like that? All the information that we need. Can you produce that documentation that'll help prove that if Microsoft was to withhold this game from your company, that you will be gravely impacted? I ain't saying I got to do all that. I'm just telling you. Y'all just should believe me. Y'all should just take my word for it. All that paper stuff, that costs too much. I have to spend $2 million on that. I got to gather all that. I don't have enough time to do all that. You know what I'm saying? Just believe me. Just take my word for it. Just take my word for it. Get that game. We up out of here. That is crazy. And guess what? They got the regulators believing it. And that's how I know they haven't done their due diligence. Outside of the 4 who approved the deal already, who did their due diligence, who looked at the market, who understood that one game, Call of Duty, is one, not an essential input, in that it will not cripple Sony as a company or as a gaming publisher. This is crazy. Huh? You want me to produce what? Huh? I don't know about all that. Let me see. Okay, I got 2 million. Man, I got to spend 2 million. Could you just take my word for it? Just this one time. Just give me this one time. Take my word. Somebody like, all right, we believe. We believe you. FTC, we believe you. You ain't got to produce no documents. We believe you. Even though Brazil and Chile proved in their research that the numbers don't add up. Right? Sony should produce documents from, and see, and this why this I like this because when the subpoena came out, the first thing the Sony fanboy said, they trying to get Sony blueprint. They trying to figure out how Sony do this and do that and do this and do that. That's the first thing the Sony fanboy said. But in here, Microsoft breaks down why it needs that information. All right. Sony should produce documents from Lin Tao. I didn't even know who that was. See, they naming executives that we don't even hear about. That I don't even know the PlayStation community even know about. I ain't never heard a PlayStation person, Porter Rock, J Dub, Z. None of them bring up a Lin Tao or Hideki Nishino. Never brought up their names. You feel me, Ruham? They don't even know these. They out protect. They don't even know these people, Ru. They don't know these people. Okay, I'm just saying. I ain't never seen a hardcore PlayStation person on Twitter bring up not a Nan Lin Tao or Hideki Nishino. I'm just finding out who they are. I didn't even know who they are. So if I know they didn't know. They always bring up the public figures. You feel me? So Sony should produce documents from Lin Tao, Hideki Nishino, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, please forgive me. Because Tao is the key custodian with information about SIE's financial health and plans, and Nishino is the head of SIE's hardware business. Another topic of central importance. Yeah, we need that. We need your financial, especially after the numbers y'all just released, after the hardware numbers that y'all released. We need to see that. We need to see that. We need those numbers because we need to know how impacted you guys will be financially and from a hardware perspective without this one title. Do the numbers match what y'all saying? Okay? Sony relies on blanket assertions of privilege. Talk, Microsoft. Talk. That's what I'm talking about. Talk that talk. Don't need to hold no punches. PlayStation as a company is privileged in there. And you look at their community act privileged. Their gaming community, especially amongst their hardcore gamer, they act privileged. We get exclusives. We can own exclusives. Sony feed us exclusives. Y'all don't need exclusives. We can do this over here. Y'all can't do that over there. Sony should be able to work and use all of the tricks and kinks in the sink or whatever to make their fan base happy. But Microsoft is trying to become a monopoly and consolidate the whole market. It's cool for Sony to have exclusives for their hardware, but it's a problem with Microsoft. They act privileged. They act privileged because they can't imagine a future with PlayStation not being the market leader. They can't see it. With PlayStation not winning, not leading, not selling the most games, not selling the most hardware. They can't vision that. They can't see it and they don't want to see it. From their eyes, PlayStation should always be number one, should always have the better software, the better hardware, and sell the most. Sony relies on blanket assertions of privilege and the burden of reviewing McCurdy's files because he is a lawyer. But according to his job posting, McCurdy is also responsible for SIE's public policy engagement. Sony has refused to provide a predecessor custodian for Christian Savanson, if I'm pronouncing that right, Savanson, who manages SIE's relationship with Activision. Even though Savanson has only been in his position since 2021, Microsoft says that the relationship is of the utmost importance, and SIE has not supported its assertion that Savanson's manager would have the same documents as Savanson's predecessor. That's important too because he has the information. He pretty much works between Sony and Activision. So all them exclusive deals and stuff like that Sony has with Activision, with COD and all that, that's him. That's him. Okay. So we're gonna keep going. Regarding the request for data about the performance of SIE's gaming business, Sony has not explained why pulling and producing data from its central files without any need for responsiveness or privileged review would be unduly burdensome. Requests 14D and 19 are about specific documents, valuations, board documents, and regulatory submissions related to SIE's cloud gaming acquisitions of Gaikai in 2012 and OnLive in 2015. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. Call them out. If they gonna stand there and try to block, put up. Okay, you want to block us? Okay, we need to see what you, because you acquired Gaikai in 2012, OnLive in 2015. We weren't even in the cloud gaming business. We didn't even have a cloud service. You had a head start before everybody. You literally had a head start before everybody. And what we need to know is between 2012 and 2015 until now, why has there been a lack of support for your cloud service and infrastructure? And why wait to now to be concerned about a service that you had a head start on? You was there before all of us. You got the patents to the two companies that started this, OnLive and Gaikai. I'm pretty sure you're making money off them patents. The same way Microsoft make money off all the patents, the cell phone patents that they got when they brought Nokia. What made you and your executives and your board choose to put cloud gaming to the side after initially getting there before us, before Nintendo, and before Google? What made that happen? What made it happen? You got there before everybody. You had an opportunity in terms of the service and the infrastructure to put yourself in position, and you set it to the side. And now, since it's becoming a valuable platform, I won't say it's there yet. Now you got an issue with it, though you was there before everybody else. It was no way when Google announced Stadia, when they did that presentation, when Google announced Stadia, it was no way that what's-the-name should have sat in that audience, and when he was asked, what did he think about the presentation of Stadia? He said, and this was from Yoshida. Yoshida now who's doing, I think, indie, who got the indie department. Yoshida stated, we have a lot of catching up to do. How, Sway? How, Sway? You purchased the two companies that started this shit. You got all the patents. See, this remind me, before I go on, this remind me of the 360. This reminds me going all the way back to the OG era, right? When Microsoft said, look, we're not going to leave it up to developers to build their own infrastructure for online gaming. We're going to build 3 data centers. We're going to spend $2 billion on Xbox Live. We're going to build 3 data centers around the world. And we're going to unburden those developers in terms of infrastructure, in terms of setting it up and everything. We're going to make it easy for them to the point where all they have to do is add Xbox Live code to their game. We will take care of the rest. They don't have to worry about servers. They don't have to worry about maintaining servers or none of that. All they need to do is focus on creating their games. Right? Microsoft made that choice. Right? What did Sony come do? Because back then. Because I'm pretty sure in the early 90s, in the late 90s, Sony was booming back then. I'm pretty sure that at some point they could have invested in their own data centers, but they didn't. Microsoft did. Now you hold that against them because since they didn't built out their infrastructure as one of the biggest cloud infrastructures in the world. I'm not saying Sony had to do that, but I think they should have had they should have, when they say Microsoft investing in their own data centers, I think Sony should have did the same thing. Hold on. I'm getting sick. I think Sony should have did the same thing. But you know what Sony did? Sony said, we're going to leave it up to the developers. They got to set up their own network. They got to run their own service. They got to pay for their own service. They got to run their own infrastructure. We're going to leave it up to them. So they got to focus on the game. They got to buy their own service. They got to pay for their own. They got to do all that on their own. We ain't helping them with shit. It's a difference. So now that comes back to bite them in the ass. But now Microsoft is being penalized for it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Microsoft is investing in games too, Eric. And they still investing in infrastructure and stuff like that. I don't think Microsoft should be penalized for for seeing the future. Investing in cloud service. I'm pretty sure at one point in the 90s that somebody at Sony brought that to their attention. Okay, we're going to keep going. All right. We're going to keep going. So let's see here. Microsoft said that providing targeted information about SIE's own cloud gaming efforts is relevant to assessing the viability of the claim and is not unduly burdensome. Yeah. We need to know what efforts that y'all had behind cloud because y'all got here before us. And what efforts y'all had prior to 2012 and 2015. I'm telling you, we could go all the way back to 2001. We need to see the efforts that y'all was trying to, and what efforts and things that y'all took in that space to put yourself at a point where y'all wanted to compete in that space? Because I don't see it. Microsoft seeks performance reviews for SIE custodians. Microsoft is not seeking to embarrass SIE's leadership. It seeks to understand the metrics on which SIE's executives and businesses are evaluated. Request 35 seeks executive copies of content licensing agreements between SIE and third-party gaming publisher. Microsoft says that these contracts are relevant. Microsoft says they are aware that PlayStation requires many third-party publishers to agree to exclusivity provisions, including preventing the publishers from putting their games on Xbox multi-game subscription service, which is Game Pass, but that they do not fully understand the extent of SIE's arrangements or how they impact the industry's competitiveness. Yeah, we need to see the receipts. We need to see the paperwork because we already know they blocking games on Game Pass, but we need to know to what extent that these agreements go in depth in terms of preventing those developers from having success on our system, on Game Pass, on cloud, everything as a whole. We need to know. Because if they're saying we're anti-competitive, well, we know y'all built your whole thing off walling off content. We know y'all built your whole thing off exclusives. Yeah, we what agreements y'all got over there, huh? You can't throw rocks in a glass house. You can't throw rocks in a glass house. That's what Microsoft's saying. Microsoft requests that Sony produce documents that SIE submitted to these regulatory authorities in connection with this transaction. SIE has refused, agreeing only to produce submissions to the European Commission and United Kingdom's Commission and Markets Authority based on claims of burdens. Okay. What y'all sending over there to them? We need to see. Because something ain't adding up. We need to see what y'all submitting over there. Because due to these regulatories having a lack of understanding or education of what's going on, they probably don't even know what they're looking at. And you could tell them anything. All right. We're going to move to the next one. We're going to also about to wrap this up. Contrary to the allegations that Microsoft will make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox since announcing the deal, Microsoft has repeatedly offered to enter into an agreement to license Call of Duty to SIE first for 5 years. This is new, 5 years. So I know some people hopped on Twitter and said, yeah, the 2-year deal was still going and they just added 3 on it. We don't know that. We don't know if the 5 years was an extension of the 2, meaning that 2 years plus 5 more years, which means will be 7. But people instantly jumped in my comments on Twitter saying I was stupid, like they know, like they read the paperwork, like they was received the email saying, oh, they just talking about 3 years added on to the 2, that's 5. That's why Jim Ryan came out and said it was only 3. Well, I don't believe at this point with all the line and misinformation that's been going on, I don't believe nothing Jim Ryan said. Now, hopefully they'll come out and we'll see if it was the 3 added on to the 2, but it could be the 5. It could have been 5 years added on to the 2, which would have been 7. Rashad, because it's like I said earlier, this is uncommon. First of all, this is uncommon in this industry, right? This is uncommon in this industry. Because when has ever a publisher has signed any agreement to keep a game on their system for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years? This is contracts like this don't get made in this industry. in the context of what's going on with this deal now. I'm not talking about Forspoken with its 2-year exclusivity or anything like that. That's way different. Minecraft is different too because Microsoft chose to keep that multi-platform, and I think it was a part of, if I'm not mistaken, I got to check that. I got to check that. Sony called Microsoft after they acquired Minecraft and asked was they going to take Minecraft exclusive. And Microsoft told them no. Actually, Minecraft was on less systems prior to Microsoft purchasing them. After Microsoft purchased them, Minecraft is on more systems than it has ever been. Minecraft wasn't on that many systems when prior to Microsoft buying it. Now it's everywhere, and that's because of Microsoft. Look at Young City K3. What new game Microsoft? Hold on, let me finish this up, and then I'll get to the chat, and then I'll answer y'all questions. Cause we got some ponies in here galloping and barn hopping. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? They are galloping and barn hopping right now. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna address them once I finish this up. All right. So, and that's new because everybody, when Jim Ryan came out, Jim Ryan said, "Here she go again. I just can't get through the show." Who she keep calling? Okay. All right. So 5 years, that was new. That was new. And then they extended it from 5 years to 10, an unheard of duration in the industry, which it is. And that's more than compromising at this point. SIE has refused. They refused the 5-year offer. They refused the 10-year offer, but don't want to tell nobody why though. Microsoft seeks documents about these negotiations, including SIE's internal considerations of Microsoft offers and why it has refused them. So basically, the gist of, and let me finish this first. Request 14F seeks information about SIE's investment in virtual reality technology for its console, which SIE's executive has highlighted as a strategic imperative and a giant leap forward in the way we play games. I don't know what the virtuality aspect of this has. I don't know. Somebody had to break that down to me, give me some clarity on that. But when I read all of this, I see Microsoft saying this. You're sitting up here telling the regulatory bodies all of this information on why the deal should be blocked. And you're providing paperwork to them, right? The regulatory bodies are giving us some insight on some of the stuff you're saying, but they're also redacting information. Microsoft saying, "Look, if you're going to side with Sony and their perspective on why this deal should be blocked, well, at least allow us access to the information that they're giving y'all on why it should be blocked, or the information that we need so we can have an argument, so we can have something to fight against. Don't just take their word for it, right? Don't just take their word for it. Let us know what we're up against, what they're providing. Let us get substantial information that backs up their claim. So we can, you know what I'm saying, argue against it with our own findings and our own information. All right. But that's the update there. That's the update there on the motion. that Microsoft submitted to the judge, which is this here, right? Look at all them lawyers. And man, these lawyers are making money right now on both sides, right? They are making money on both sides. They are making bread right now. And the judge name is here, Michael Chappell, Chief Administrative Law Judge for the FTC, D. Michael Chappell. That's the judge. I don't even got it on screen, but that's the judge. The judge name is D. Michael Chappell. He's the Chief Administrative Law Judge, right? In this order, this motion, just like the Sony motion to limit and squash, has not been signed by this judge. So this probably was just recently submitted. Exhibit A, this entire exhibit is subjected to protective order. Exhibit B, okay, so these are the 4 examples. Well, more than that. Damn, it's a lot. That's a lot of protected information. Exhibit A through G. All right, so let me take this off screen. Okay, so that's out there. I wanted to, instead of getting in the tweet and going online, even though I got access to 4,000 characters on Twitter now, since I am a Twitter Blue member, we got access to 4,000 characters now, so I could put a lot more in the tweets. They also allow us to do up to 60-minute videos at 1080p from a computer. It's still 10-minute videos at 1080p from the cell phone. So Twitter Blue for me is more than just about the check mark, but being able to upload an extended video for however long you want and not have to cut it down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds by being 1080p in quality and the character limit. I think that is, if you're a content creator, I think all that assists you. So now I'm going to answer some questions. I'm done with those 2 things in terms of the motion and the third party summary. So we went from just Sony to 6 parties having an issue. So any questions y'all got in the chat for me, let me know before I get out of here. Let me know before I get out of here. Let me close this out. When this deal is done, we're in March, April, I would say no later than May. I say by April we'll know whether it's gonna I'd say late March, going into April, we'll know whether if Microsoft is going to close this or not. We'll know if Microsoft is going to close it. Oh yeah. I've also what's this today? Today I'm gonna upgrade to StreamYard so we can get 1080p streams and stuff, because this 720p shit is for the birds. Also, if you look at the right corner of the screen, you see our new State of Gaming logo. Shout out to Mello for that. That fire logo. So simple, but wait till y'all see this stuff. But yeah, if y'all got any questions, just at me in the chat. I'll be able to see, and then I'll answer them to the best of my ability. For the person who asks when this deal will close, I say no later than May. I think by starting sometime in next month, towards the middle end of next month, going into April, we'll really get a consensus on where this deal at in terms of closing, or if the regulators are still going to pretty much side with Sony. All right. So any questions before I get out of here? The Wham Good Show, but no, this post, I'm always going to give you that smoke, laugh out loud. And just because I say stuff doesn't mean I'm a pony. Only people with pony minds think that way. No, Ruham, I respect that, brother. That's why I say, regardless if you're for this deal or against it, the only important thing is the conversation. We learn from each other. We take from each other and things like that. So we also can learn. We all can learn or obtain something from this conversation. Prior to all this, I ain't know nothing about mergers and acquisitions. And then this comes along, and Hogue Law pops up and start breaking it down. IDOS over in Reset Era, Pixie and the the incredible members over there, they start breaking things down and giving insight and breaking things down to the simplest term for people to understand and stuff like that. And so now I'm here. I still don't know. I still not in a position where I know a lot. I just know specific things on this particular case because I invested time in it to learn those things because this is a pivotal point, not only in the tech industry, but the gaming industry as well. And the meta decision, along with with this decision, is going to have political implications, and is also going to decide how big tech and other companies choose to acquire companies from here on out, including Sony and things like that. So it's big. It's beyond game. I know we like to bring this down to just Call of Duty, but this have this have wide implications that I don't even think people actually um really think about. You know what I'm saying? Actually really think about. So yeah. Young CDK3, I'm at 70-30. I still have a high percentage of this deal going through. I still have a high percentage of this deal going through. Uh, Rashad say there will not be any more publishers buying by Microsoft or anyone. I don't know. I don't know about that. I would say the industry is huge. The industry is huge, and it's constantly expanding. Okay, industry is huge. It's constantly expanding. So you never know. A publisher can get brought. Amazon can. They not in the hardware business. They could choose to buy a publisher. Google could choose to buy a publisher. Apple could come in and buy a publisher without any, I don't think, without any pushback. So I think there's still a possibility. But I think companies are going to use this. Companies are going to use this to gouge, right? Companies are going to use this to gouge what they would need to do. What they would need to do. What process to make sure that that acquisition go through. Because right now, amongst the FTC, they don't know. There's no the FTC blocking shit, even if it's don't supposed to be blocked. So the FTC just blocking shit. So it's no it's nothing that's in place right now to say, hey, these are the guidelines that you need to abide by or look into when you're trying to acquire another company. And these are the things that we're looking for. And I think after the Meta deal and this Microsoft deal, I think those guidelines and things will start. Feifei, Feifei, hold on, man, hold on. My bad, my bad, my bad. My lady back out there making all that noise. So yeah, I think the Meta deal and this deal, amongst other deals, would kind of set the grounds for future acquisitions. So big tech will know what will be challenged and what won't be challenged. Right now, there's no grounds. Right now, they don't know what the LTC is going to do because the FTC is even blocking deals that they shouldn't be blocking. You know, and then number two, especially in gaming, these regulatory bodies are new to this market in terms of their understanding of it. Um, and that's what I was told that that's what took a lot of this so long. And that's why you got analysts out there that's saying that this deal shouldn't even went past phase one. It should have been approved. But here we are because through manipulation with Sony and them out there getting that, I think possibly getting ahead of Microsoft and setting a narrative. And now Microsoft is fighting from a position of trying to reverse a lot of the things that Sony has put out there. So yeah, who we got? Avi FTW. Do you think Lena Khan will make it to the end of Biden's presidency? No. But also, it was Biden who put it in place, but he can't fire due to I was just looking at that. I forgot what law it is. I think it's a federal law, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's in position to fire her or tell her to step down. From what I was reading yesterday, I gotta look that up. Yeah, and that's the reason why he hired Lena Khan. That's the reason why he hired Lena Khan. But if you're gonna go out after big tech, do it in a law-abiding way. Don't, from my understanding, don't sidestep the law and just block stuff based off your ideology, right? The law is there for a reason. Abide by it, and then do things that way based on the law. That way it's justified, right? That way it's justified. But don't just block stuff just because you want to say, hey, lawmakers, this is why we need to have more power and more control over this and that. Lose or win, we need power. So, but thank y'all for joining the show. I thank y'all. This was a pop-up show. I had over like 95 people in here. I thank y'all for y'all continued support and showing up and things like that. State of Gaming this Saturday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Please show up. Please make sure y'all like, share this show out. And we're gonna go from there. We're gonna pick up. Thanks, Avi. Because the FTC lost all integrity now that the board is operating partisan. Both Republicans can quit. And that one Republican was for the deal, but they voted against her 3-1, and that's why they took it to their internal court to try to get it blocked. People saying that you had these people on Twitter saying, yeah, it's all different. The one person that was for the deal is gone now. This is getting blocked. It was already blocked when she was there. They outvoted her 3-1. So her being gone ain't gonna make no difference. When Microsoft is already an administrative, when they already going to court with the FTC or them trying to block the deal, it just don't make no sense yet. But shout out to everybody, man. Avi, Donovan, Eric, Mac City Entertainment, one of the best bots in the community. Tatter, man, what's good, brother? Rashad, Young City, Il Ray Tito, other Zinc, C4 Skills, all Abdel, Mr. Keenan. I didn't even know you was in here. Jen Ed 88 was good. The Ruham Bay Area. Shout out to all y'all, man. This on a solo show, man. And I told y'all I was gonna give y'all more content this year, and we've been on it, man. So expect more streaming and live streaming for us. Like I said, State of Gaming on Saturday, 6 o'clock p.m. Central and 7 o'clock Eastern time. And so we're gonna get into that. I think, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, what's today? The 16th? Let me check my email because I think I'm supposed to be playing that closed beta of that Ubisoft game right about now called X Defiant, if I'm not mistaken. X Deviant. Let me see here. Oh, my what's the name has been delivered too. Yeah, X Defiant. Yeah, X Defiant cross-play insider session available now. It ends on February. So I'm going to get into that. I'm going to play a little bit of that X Defiant, which is from Ubisoft, which I think is a first-person shooter, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, use the link below to invite your Ubisoft Connect friends to play with you in insider sessions. Let me see here. Register for insider session cross play test. You have been invited to sign NDA. This is an NDA. I can't stream this or nothing, but I might get some. Let me see if I can get some codes. Okay. You have accepted the non-disclosure. You are approved for the insider session cross on Xbox Series X. NES defines work in progress. This technical test does not. Okay, Representative, you can play only if you're in Europe or America. Here is the key to claim your access. Want to invite friends to join the fun? Share this link to invite your friends and play the. Okay. So I got to share a link. Or you can invite friends to join the insider session cross-play test with you. But you'll have to be a part of my Ubisoft already registered. Okay. Y'all have to be friends with me on the Ubisoft Connection. Okay, so y'all have a good one, man. We out. I'm gonna see if I could get this link out and first come, first serve, man. But I know y'all have to be friends on the Ubisoft Connect joint. All right. And I got a few people on there, I think. Because, yeah. All right. Thank y'all for watching. We out. I'm going to see y'all Saturday. If anything happened between now and Saturday, hop back on and chop it up. But other than that, man, y'all have a great day. Any more news come out, just follow me on Twitter at postup_BBB. Let's get it popping. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, man, please subscribe. Please like, support, help with the algorithm. And let's get it. We're going to have a wonderful 2023, man. Y'all have a good one.
Ted, pop your shit.
Man over madness, grand over habit. We never had it. Check off the box on the bag list. Now we established from the block to the palace. Usage and salvage. Now we about it. Traveling thousand. Rich or poor, we breaking the balance. Wanted change, stood at the ballot. Didn't get a thing, so I stood with my talent. Up in the clouds, collecting the mileage. Soon we hit land, we up at the challenge. Dodging anything that's bringing us malice. Got hit in the cup, can't sip from that chalice. Trying to see life from a different view. Checking all sides, my peripheral. We up now, and that's the pinnacle. The inner you. Eyes stuck on the inner tube. Perception got them in V2. They all gas like an inner tube. Took a small break, just an interlude. Now we in the groove. Took a couple losses, we was 10-2. Before the turn, it was 10-2. Got it hand over hand like we 10-2. Cause when you down and out, they don't tend to you. Still we made it. From the land where they take that, they don't play fair. Lost a lot of niggas, fell off with niggas, I don't really care. Hell with them now, whether tried to feel with them now. So we out here until we out of here, looking up now, past the stratosphere.
Came a long way, I was eating cereal, sell as fuck. Couple OT shifts back to back, that was 12 a month. Seeing pain often got me asking, nigga, what the hell you want? Rather pay up front before I pay up front. You could say I didn't, never say I won't. Fast forward, that's crash course. I was broke, unattached headboard. Used to laugh at me, life was comical. We up now, astronomical. Our lowest points was a plateau. Blessed after being back dope. We was on the business and it went sour. We still made it, that's a different power. Gotta watch your 6 when they on your 20. Every day I smile through the horribles. Oracles telling me I got a few minutes. It was a quarter to vulnerable visions of making it out of it. Portable audibles, pardon me, possibly. Circle with smallest apostrophes. Making monopolies out of these lyrics, commodities, obviously. Welcome to the deli felonies. He called allegedly. Fuel for the fire, especially. It was the recipe, open sesame. All this pain never overstressing me. God did, he was over testing me. Get a lesson, never get a lesson me. Back to business cause he over blessing me. That's the turn, nigga. It's my turn, nigga, it's our turn.